Every Tuesday, you can get yourself a copy of our newspaper, iDiskiTV, for absolutely free. Every shop right in the Gauteng province, you just go there, get yourself the paper. And on Fridays, the paper will be available across the nation on our website, iDiskiTimes.co.za. iDiskiTV powered by World Sports Betting, iDiskiTimes.co.za. iDiskiTimes.co.za. In 2006, Tso Vilakazi went to the African Cup of Nations with Bafana Bafana. They conspired to lose all the matches. They lost 2-0, 2-0, and 1-0. I was in tears because I was 16 years old, and it was the first time that I'd ever seen Bafana Bafana play so much crap. When I was 6, they won the AFCON. When I was 16, they didn't even score a single goal. They lost 2-0 to Guinea, 2-0 to Tunisia. It was a North African team. And then 1-0, they lost against Zambia. I remember crying on that Zambia game as well. Do you know what's special and magical about all of that is that this guy won man of the match in all of those matches. He won man of the match. Tso Vilakazi in the African Cup of Nations in 2006. He won man of the match in 3 matches. But Bafana lost 2-0. Someone scored a brace there for Guinea. This guy, this criminal, won a man of the match. In the second game, Uto Santos ushayo Calvin Malin Tunisia, I think, won 2-0. This guy won man of the match. Zambia, Chris Katongo scored. We lost 1-0. I think Sipiwa Shabala made his debut. He was 19 for Bafana Bafana. And this guy won man of the match as well there. You try to think about who his chairman was at that time. Who was his chairman at that time to win 3 men of the match? Now myself now 3 were Ericsson. At that time, this guy. And now try to think who usually wins man of the match with iDiskiTV Premiership. But guys, call up. There's a clearance sale, Gumarumo Kalans. We'll talk about 3 players very quickly, and I want you to tell me very quickly each player. We'll go one by one, whether it's a good signing or a bad signing, or is it a mistake or Sobona Ehamben was cut. 3 players who did well, Gumarumo Kalans. In fact, there were 2 players for me with these 3 that we're talking about that did well. Ranga Chivaviro did well in the CAF Confederations Cup. He's a forward. He scored against Kaizer Chiefs in the league. It's now being rumored that he might sign for Kaizer Chiefs. Lesiba Nku, we've just heard that he will sign for Mamelodi Sundowns. He's got dreadlocks. He was number 7, left-footed player, very beautiful player. Those were the 2 players that stood out for me in the CAF Confederations Cup. Otladisa is a very concern for me because every match that I watched all of those games, Zemarumo Kalans in the CAF Confederations Cup, and every time I was writing notes, I was saying, this guy looks angry. It's a small thing now, but it will catch up with him in a big club. He was fighting against the referee, fighting against the opponents all the time. I was like, this guy just looks angry. It's just, I don't know what happened to him when he was younger. I don't know, but he just looks angry. I just hope Orlando Pirates could work with him on that. So let's start with Otladisa, Orlando Pirates. Not yet confirmed, but I think it's was kept secret. Everyone knows that he's at Orlando Pirates now. Good signing, bad signing. What do you think of that player as a player, Otladisa?
Look, yeah, personally a good player, but I doubt it for Pirates. Not for Pirates. He's you know, when you look at game yakhe makalapana kumaromo, bengakhuphuka game yakhe lokamile. You know, and when you go to a big team like Pirates, you know, you must always rise. You must always rise. So
good, bad signing?
For Pirates, bet.
Correct. Ranga Chivaviro, a striker. His mother is South African. His father is Zimbabwean. He's a South African striker. I think he's 30, 31 years old, if I'm not mistaken. He was playing for Baroka. He's been up and down until this season. Really, this season, that was one of my favorite strikers. The way that he positions himself in the box and the way that he's so confident, he's bossing the box. I don't know whether he's going to be able to pull it off at another place because Marumo Kalans was playing a different style of football in the CAF Confederations Cup. Maybe he needs that style. Who knows? Chivaviro, good striker, good signing for you. Bad signing if he goes to Chiefs. The other thing as well is that they have to buy him from Richards Bay because Richards Bay is saying he has a pre-contract with us, even though he was seen training with Chiefs. So this one is still a question mark whether he's a Chiefs player, but he's being aligned with Chiefs. They saw him in training with Chiefs. Let's not talk about the Richards Bay for now. If he went to Chiefs, would he be a good signing, bad signing? 31 years old, is that a good idea?
Look, yeah, the Chiefs I'm signing. But my worry is that that's a problem, because you can have a good finisher, but if you don't have a cooker and a disher, then it's useless. So good aside in the Chiefs they don't have a good striker. They don't have a let me put it that way. The Chiefs are a striker, so he's gonna be a striker.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Tso. Last one, Lesiba Nku, one of my favorite players again, had a very good season. In fact, I was starting to think that these players, the Marumo Gallants, they needed to draw or win in the last game. And I thought with that bonus thing that they had, that problem, I thought with these guys, they just know which they're going to be signed by other teams because of the way they performed in the Confederations Cup. They lost to young Africans in the semi-finals. Lesiba Nku, Mamelodi Sundowns. I think it's as good as done. Our journalists are telling us at iDiskiTV Times or CO2, they're telling us that it's as good as done. They were reporting it today that is signed for Mamelodi Sundowns. Lesiba Nku, Mamelodi Sundowns, left-footed midfielder. Good or bad signing?
Good signing. Mr. Nkeo, njoba ngibeka kanje ngicela ukuthi ukusho something. I'm worried ukuthi is it only Sundowns that they can only see players from other teams? Or the other teams now, but they're right to see a good player and approach that play. But the way I see things is like only Sundowns that they've got an eye for players. Other teams, a player understand in their system, how are they gonna use that player. I'll make a good example. Teams you know, I don't know, Mr. Geo. That's why I'm asking this, because kept on sit. I'm asking this because we've cried about Omendita 2 seasons back. Omendita, we've been crying, but again, Sundowns, you saw him.
Good or bad signing, Lesiba Nku?
Good signing, very good. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Tso. Mr. Junior, please come through. Thank you very much, Mr. Tso and so. That was his Tso's evaluation for these 3 players, the Marumo Gallants. Otladisa Pirates, Chivaviro, still question mark Chiefs though. They saw him at Kaizer Chiefs. Thank you, Mr. Tso. And then Lesiba Nku, Mamelodi Sundowns. That's as good as done as well. Let's start with Otladisa Junior. I've made my point when I was speaking to Tso about what I saw about him. Utso says is flatlining, is operating at the same level, not improving. I think that is even regressing as well, because I think it was just too temperamental. Your thoughts on him as a player and whether or not that's a good or bad signing?
Bad signing, especially for Orlando Pirates, that they set their standards to clear position 2. Now by Africa, Kev, and Mangabe Babe second best team after Mamelodi Sundowns. Clearly, it distance ain't got that far. They won 2 trophies in a row. Mkulmanga season day 1, Sundowns won 1, spent a lot of money downs. It means more or less Pirates here achieved the Sundowns good season domestically, yes. Kushuti standard abasetile, not ordinary player can join. Okrendo mfana bekumela vayina team or makasayina sayina ama team lamancane. It was good asukela pa kuMaZulu or ekuswalus or team that survived, or Marumo Gallants, ilo iTX Galaxy, or other teams as well, or cheaper. I'm saying because nalapha bekazofika mhlambe a compete na similar player akule level yakhe. It doesn't have a big heart. I think a character, a problem like a character. I mean, among him checker, you cannot play for Pirates or Kaizer Chiefs or Sundowns, be a star player. Ungana big heart, because how you gonna deal bad first touch? I'm a supporter among they boo you. How you gonna react? How you gonna react kanjani? So it doesn't have a big heart, and right, he must fix his attitude as well. But it goes with the njobangishi character. If they kick him, mhlambe or bamfoul, a strong character, a talented player who's got a strong character. Even if you kick him, we ambassador. Umuntu ozobiza kaningi is going to open up a space for him, and akana balance no more time to time. He always fall and uphethe height umfana young aga and udlala ku Sundowns school if I had.
Yes, that's another point. People are hyping his move. Yeah. Who knows? We're not God, so who knows whether he can become a good player at Pirates? They're hyping it. The question I asked myself, besides me scouting him and seeing him this season, I was like, so why did they release him there? That side. It's the same as Yusuf Mart being released by Pirates and then thinking that he can be a superstar at Chiefs. No, they knew Uguti, this player has a limitation, but now he's signed for Orlando Pirates.
Yeah, Sundowns, why if it was good enough, it didn't break through. Seriously, why it didn't break through and be a star player there? No matter a couple of games, Simbon, which is unfortunate, is playing against the best. After season one, Bamlone somewhere, Mshambe, Gube good liar corner see, Yabon, Simbon with okay sharp, Mshamba perform or perform with Bangambuisa back. So for me, Nkule was fail. It's a bad signing. Pirates doesn't need him.
All right. Ranga Chivaviro. Okay, this one is tricky because of being tied. Now you will listen to the same interview cause FM. Richards Bay manager Udlamini. Akhuluma ukuthi bamsayinele ku pre-contract, so of course Agliwa, we've signed him with pre-contract. If you want him, come to us, speak. If you're serious, here's the price, you pay us the price. It's not complicated if you really want him. Talk to me about Ranga Chivaviro as a striker. Remember there was this ball, if you remember this ball that Edmilson Tova was trying to shield and Chivaviro was behind him, and Chivaviro took that ball. And it was a very awkward angle. Brandon Peterson was standing, but there was like a gap here, and he scored it from such a weird angle. And I saw him score some other good goals as well in the Confederations Cup. What do you think about him? Good or bad signing?
Yeah, for me, I don't think it's a good signing. It's 31. Imbonile is good. Good Confederation, yeah. He did very well. But to compete under we structure, big pressure now. He should have signed going for Mayo for Giwe no Mayo. Yeah, for me, Bengzo de looking to Mayo. So for me, Nankulego still Kalang Zokalang surrounding Aguyo. And I don't think I'm going to buy a solution in Kaizer Chiefs for now. Funegumunto mobile, how can create a space for very mobile dynamic. Unfortunate with this signing. But for now, it's about quality. Beleba sign a player that assign a contract somewhere. Equality, players have signed somewhere. Equality. So it's a bad signing for me. No man about tall. Look at his age, 31. We don't buy a solution in Kaizer Chiefs now. Not now. Yeah.
And the child is 33.
But extraordinary. International player there out here.
Well, Chivaviro, Andile Chal 5 games this season, or maybe 10, I don't know. Obviously, I know Andile Chal is the best defensive midfielder in this country. I can give my house away for that. There's no better defensive midfielder. But following your logic, 33, 31, so the age can't be a disadvantage age.
Yeah, khona abantu aba affect age ngithi wena mangithi affect age. Nyakuzuthi umama urubaba is South African but is Zimbabwean lwamjita.
I think it's a South African. Bekakhuluma nathi ku iDiskiTimes with Khanye, our journalist, if I'm not mistaken. This week he was talking to us. So I was reading that and I found out ukuthi the mother and the father, one is Zimbabwean, one is South African. And yena uthi uwayithola call ku Zimbabwe mara he turned it down because he always thought of himself as a South African.
Okay. Yeah, I was not too sure whether it's a South African or not. But truly speaking, Kulego Njobu show Andile Chal is 33. Mangit bam sign and this guy. Yeah, I mean, truly speaking, angeka be solution for Kaizer Chiefs for now, especially in indlela dlala ngayo. Akufuneka target man lapha. Yeah, if they can get better strikers, quality, aba dynamic mobile njengoba ngisho ngithi mele badlale ngaba umuntu onjengayo lo mfana lo wakamaye bekumele basayine that boy. That boy is supposed to be signed. Bekumele bangamiyeki lo mfana.
Pet signing?
For me it's not. It's a pet signing.
All right. Last one, Lesiba Nku, number 7, 27 years old, left-footed attacking midfielder. Sometimes we play wide forward, a left or a right, but is very good centrally. He's actually the reason why Ranga Chivaviro scored a lot of goals. He was in a team that had him, Ngema here and there, but I think him and Lucky Muhomi, Lesiba Nku and Lucky Muhomi were the reason why Ranga scored a lot of goals. But Ranga was so poised. When I saw him this season, he was so composed in front of goals. But Lesiba Nku, Mamelodi Sundowns, 27 years old, good or bad signing?
It's a good signing, and the best position of them among Mcheku number 10. Behind second striker, yeah. Behind. I don't think wide.
Yeah, but wide. I think the game against Chiefs they played.
Mbonile, yes, but number 10. Mbonile dlala white makemi not only Chiefs phela maning, very talented mfethu. Mangithi adlala number 10, decision making Jobushulo waza kora magola maning this guy. Cabanga that winger bekwazi ukumkhipha. Bekwazi ukhatha in imkhiphe, ikhathe in ikore. So Leotiliyana talented mfethu, good signing from Sundowns. Very very good signing, especially ngendlela engimbona yenza ngayo outstanding. But amanye ama team utso right. bamike kanjani bamjida sengikhulumela yona kunokuthi balande yena Otladisa ngiyena ngikhuluma ngaye Orlando Pirates imeka kanjani bamjida lo Pirates o mhlamba sibone ngokufana ngikhuluma nange Kev naku Kev not ukuthi ibe bamhype ku Kev imagine amfana bekenze ezinye way so nkuleko scoring goals right weight matters mostly bamike kanjani bona abo Kaizer Chiefs so credit to Mamelodi Sundowns ukuthi ibonele le talent but it goes nange proper scouting ama analysis Sundowns nama analysis amaningi le team le is so professional whether abantu bathi they can talk whatever abayenze research abantu will find out ukuthi bana ama analysis ayingakhi and ama scout angakanani so nkuleko good signing for Sundowns yes
right, there you go those are the 3 players at Marumo Gallants that have left so many others of course like Muhomi have just dropped or name dropped him he left I think he's gone to he left for somewhere. Yeah, there's so many things that are happening. I forgot, but I think he's left for somewhere. And now he auditioned really well this season. Like whatever happens with this team, I need to be signed by another team. So many of these players that were playing, I think even Ukomede probably has signed somewhere. The defender and a lot of other players too who have properly auditioned. I won't be playing with Motsepe Foundation. I'll be staying in the DSTV Premiership based on my performances. Yeah, iDiskiTV, Diski Times, World Sports Betting. Thank you for watching us.